One.
Olympic hockey is the best. We're only 2.5 days in, but we're going to dissect all the games so far. This is the Dump and Chase podcast presented by the Hoosier Network. I'm, of course, Noah Bedores with Noah Seuss and Jack Rizzo. Fellas, how have we enjoyed these games so far?
So far, I am really enjoying these Olympics. I love seeing these teams like Slovakia, like Finland is playing well, the Czech. This has just been a great week of Olympic hockey, and I'm so excited that the NHLers are back in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun, but I feel like we've lacked a lot of really fun games so far. We're going to look back at all the games and look at these scores, make some predictions, but that's my take so far is that there's really not been a whole lot of entertaining hockey to watch, Jack.
Well, what I'm really entertained by is all the NHL players being back in the Olympics. That's, I think, been my favorite part of it because all of these teams, their best players have been the NHL guys so far. I mean, you look at the way that Slavkovsky is playing for Team Slovakia. Some of these other smaller countries, they have a few NHL players, and they're the ones shining. I don't think this tournament is heated up yet. We still have a lot of time for it to heat up. I think each team has played 2 games at most, so I think we still have some time for this to really get going. I don't think we've seen some of the elite matchups yet that we're going to see down the road. But overall, mainly because of the NHL players who are in it, I've been pretty impressed with how these Olympics have gone.
Let's look at, first off, that first day of games. You had Finland and Slovakia, and kind of a surprise. Jack, you were all over this one. What did you like about this Slovakia team against a very talented and highly anticipated Finnish team?
It was all about Slavkovsky. He scored 2 goals. I thought Slovakia, I thought they just played 200 feet of hockey very, very well. They forechecked well. They didn't give Finland many great scoring opportunities. I was really, really impressed with what I saw from Team Slovakia. Not to mention that they also had technically home ice advantage. The crowd was mainly Slovakia in that game. And I am really, really impressed with what we've seen from them. And I think with the way some of these other teams have looked so far, I think Slovakia might have a top 5, maybe a top 4 finish of all the countries here in the Olympics. Maybe even a little bit higher, depending on how some of these other teams end up panning out.
Yeah, this Group B was what we talked about in our preview episode. That it's kind of that pool of death, where the Finnish are a great team, the Swedish are who I think is going to win the whole thing. At least I thought so going into it. And the Slovakia team is really giving them all a run. Seuss, what's this current state of Group B, and how do you think it's going to shake up, especially with the rest of the games in this pool play?
There is a big one coming up between Slovakia and Sweden, I think, tomorrow. So that's going to be a huge one for Slovakia, see how they stand against Sweden. Obviously, they beat Finland. I wrote in the Hoosier Network article that Slavkovsky was going to have to be huge, and they were going to be relying a lot on one of these young goaltenders to step up. And I cannot say his name for the life of me, but he's really stepped up. I'm not even going to try. The wild goalie, that's what I call him, because he's a wild prospect, and he's been really good for Slovakia so far in the first 2 games.
You mentioned Sweden, and I'll look at this group more. Sweden and Italy was kind of a fun one at the beginning. Italy struck first; they led 1-0. This game was tied 1-1. It was tied 2-2. Do we think that Italy has any chance at going deep in this tournament based on their early performances?
Italy today played a close game with Slovakia, and Slovakia's been awesome so far. They've been the key market team in Group B so far for me.
Yeah, I mean, they lose 3-2 against a very talented Slovakia team.
And then they compete heavily with Sweden.
Yep.
So it's going to come down to, is the home ice advantage really a thing for Italy, like Jack mentioned last week? And what can Italy really do right now in this group stage, not having any points?
I will say, I don't think I've ever laughed more watching a game than when I was watching Sweden versus Italy. Seeing the shots on goal differential, at one point it was like 45 for Sweden and 10 for Italy, and it was a 2-2 game.
Yeah.
So I really think it's some of that home ice magic that the Italians have. I mean, they played pretty close today with Slovakia. I really think that Italy, they shouldn't be taken for granted. I mean, they have one more match in their group against Finland, and we saw how much Finland struggled against Slovakia. Yeah. So I definitely don't think Finland should be underestimating Italy in this one. But go back to Slovakia. I've got the pronunciation here for the goalie because he needs to be mentioned.
Yes,
he has a .975 save percentage through the first 2 games. Samuel Halavai.
Shout out to you, young man.
For the Iowa Wild. Is that one of the Minnesota Wild's affiliates?
That's their AHL team.
Their goaltending, oh my goodness. I mean, you have the two amazing ones that are on Team Sweden, and you have this one down in the prospect pool. I think Minnesota is pretty well set up for the future. The
thing that makes me optimistic, going back to this Italy team, is the fact that there are only 12 teams in this tournament, meaning that group play means virtually nothing if you don't win your group, because the winners and then that fourth team move on and they get a bye. But if you're Italy and you go 0-3 in group play, you are still have a very good shot at this medal. And you only got to win a few games in a row. So I think what's nice about this is that they're getting to play this top competition, and they're playing them well. And so because of that, I have faith that they could seriously, do damage when we get to actual knockout rounds because of how close they're playing good teams.
Well, as we talked about with the U.S. last week, it's all about building momentum throughout group play. Results don't really matter yet. The scary thing is once group play is over, it's single game knockout right after that. But at the end of the day, I think the Italians are building up quite a bit of potential here. I think their team chemistry has been really well. They are doing some things really well. I think their goaltending's been played very well. And I really think that Italy is going to give some teams some fits. As I said before, I'm not counting on them against Finland when they play later this weekend. But I think it's all about building momentum. And what you said about Italy can also apply to Team France. It can apply to possibly Denmark or maybe some of these other inexperienced teams who aren't getting as much love as some of the other top teams. But I think Italy's building something good right now. They have one more group game to maybe get some stuff figured out. And then once the knockout round comes, I think they will have a chance to play very well against some of this competition.
Let's move into Thursday's games. I want to start with Czechia and Canada. This was a game that, we had our doubts about Canada going into it, but they really looked like a complete team. Jordan Binnington looked excellent. It really upset me.
It upset me too, honestly.
And the other thing was just the fact that, 5 goals, 5 different goal scorers, a whole lot of assists. Obviously, Connor McDavid was involved on most of these, but celebrating with a goal, Stone with a goal, Horvat, McKinnon, and Suzuki were the 5 goal scorers. How good can this Team Canada team be?
It shows you how much depth there is on this team. It's not one guy scoring. It's 4 lines straight of high-powered offense. And that I don't think the Czech was even close to handling. Canada is just pure dominant on the offensive end. And if Jordan Binnington plays like that, they're going to win a gold medal. Flat out. I'm going to be honest. There's no one stopping this team if they play like that.
Yeah, it's a big F on Jordan Binnington. But if he does, though, I agree. I think they 100% are the gold medal favorites. I'm still not counting out Team Czechia. I know that was a terrible performance, but I think they started the wrong goaltender. They started Lucas Dostal over Dan Vladar, which I can't believe they did. Now, they wouldn't have won if they had started Dan Vladar, because obviously they scored 0 goals, and you can't win that way. But I think it would have been more like 3-0 instead of 5-0 if they had started Dan Vladar. And I'm really hopeful that Team Czechia will start Dan Vladar in the next game. And there are some really good players on Team Czechia. David Pastrnak, Marty Necas, some really, really solid players. And now that you have your toughest group game out of the way, I think it's very important that these next 2 games, they start to build some momentum heading up to, or actually they've already played. They beat France, I guess. So they have started to build momentum. But then they have one more game after this. So it's really all about building momentum. And I still think there's a lot of talent on this Czechia team. But most importantly, they have to start Dan Vladar going forward.
So for Team Czechia, they've had 2 games, 1-1, neither of which you would say are great games, considering the competition. A blowout loss to Canada, and then you give up 3 goals to France. Do we think that the issue for Czechia is the offense, or is it the goaltending?
I think it's a net, really. Vladar has to be the guy going forward here. And to allow 3 goals to probably, I'm going to say, the worst team in this tournament. France or Italy arguably are the worst teams in this tournament. To allow 3 goals to a France team, that's just absolutely brutal, and it's unacceptable coming from a team like Czechia.
I will give some credit to Czechia. They did start Dan Vladar
today. Vladar did start today.
Yes.
He did give up 3 goals.
But he gave up 3 goals to France.
Yeah.
France.
I mean, to be fair, Sweden gave up, 2 or 3 to Italy? So it's a really weird tournament. It's still early. I'm not counting any of these 12 teams. I'm not counting out yet.
Yeah.
Other than probably France, because they've just looked awful. But other than France, I think all these other teams have a decent shot at going far in the knockout rounds and possibly securing a medal. I'm not counting out Czechia yet.
let me move back into Canada. I want to talk more about Canada, especially because they have that 5-0 win against Czechia tonight, or actually in 2 hours they get Switzerland. Does the Swiss team have what it takes to pull off an upset against Canada? They had a 4-0 win against France yesterday. Was that their first game?
Yeah, that was
their first game. So it's going to be both of these teams' second game of the tournament. Jack, do you think that the Swiss have what it takes to take down the Canadians?
I am going to say no, but I think they will keep it closer than Czechia did. I really liked what I saw from Switzerland against France in the first round, having a very nice shutout performance. And I think what Switzerland has that the Czechs really didn't, they have a standout defenseman, Roman Josi, for Team Switzerland, one of the best blue liners in the league. I think that Switzerland will be able to keep it closer than Czechia did. The goaltending, that's probably going to be Akira Schmidt for them today. He looks pretty good against Team France. Again, you're playing a much better team in Team Canada this time. I don't think they're going to win. I think it's going to be a multiple goal victory again for Canada, but I'm going to say more like 4-1 than 5-0.
I mean, I think it's going to come down again to, does Jordan Binnington show up? And he's obviously way better in a Canadian jersey than in a Blues jersey, but there's always that doubt for me with Binnington, where he could struggle today. An excellent performance in game one, he could give up 4 goals today against the Swiss, and that's going to put more pressure on the Canadian offense.
I am very big on Logan Thompson, and I was expecting him to fully be in net for game one of these Olympics. So I am impressed with how Binnington is starting, but Switzerland is very much a better team than the Czech. They have more scoring, they have more depth. So I can't wait to see how he performs in this one compared to when they played the Czech.
I think today will be a really big indicator of the difference in level of play between the Czechs and the Swiss, because those two are probably fighting for the second place here in Group A.
Yeah.
The reason why I don't think Switzerland can beat Team Canada is because Jordan Binnington shut down a Czech offense. I mean, that Czech offense had David Pastrnak and Marty Necas, and they are both better than any forwards on Team Switzerland.
Sure.
So I don't think Switzerland nearly has the talent level nor the production to knock off Team Canada. I think they're going to need to play shutdown defense. Roman Josi might play 25-plus minutes in this game, trying to shut down Team Canada. They're going to need big saves from Akira Schmidt. I think he will. I think Akira Schmidt will play well, but I think Canada will still find a way to win, and I don't really think it's going to be close at all. I just think they are way better than every team in this group.
What did we see out of Germany yesterday? They had a 3-1 win against Denmark. Denmark is not a great team, but this German team is one that we thought might be a little under the radar. And what kind of, not surprised me, but I would say, solidified what I believed about Germany was that we saw that it was their NHL talent who led them in the victory.
Yes, the top line of Draisaitl, Suzuki, and Peterka were absolutely amazing. All 3 goals came from that top line. And then when Denmark tied the game, of course, it was from Ehlers got an assist on the play, so it was from their NHLers too. So a lot relied on the NHLers. And one other thing, I am not a big believer in Frederik Andersen in net for Denmark. So I think that was another reason. If Denmark had a better goalie, they would have fared better against Germany.
Did you say Suzuki?
Did I say Suzuki?
I think he said Suzuki.
I said Suzuki.
You mean Stützle?
Yes.
Wrong.
Suzuki. Oh my God.
Not even from the right team.
No.
Not even from the right NHL. Not even from the same NHL team.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Right
yes.
country. Right country for the NHL team. Just wrong team. Yeah, I was impressed with Germany. I thought they looked really, really sharp. Having a multi-goal win, that's always a good sign. And as Sue sort of mentioned, I guess, with how well the top line played, it's really all about Leon Draisaitl, one of the 5 best players in the world, finally getting his chance to shine. I mean, he's kind of always been in Connor McDavid's shadow in Edmonton, and that might be why he's sort of underrated. But I think that with him, with Stützle, who's a rising star for the Senators, they've got a lot of rising stars in these Olympics. I think Jake Sanderson had a fantastic game yesterday. He's a defenseman for the United States. I'm excited about that young Ottawa core, but we'll talk about that more in an NHL episode. And along with JJ Peterka, who I don't want to go back to the NHL, but I really wonder how much better Buffalo would be if they had just kept him and not traded him.
Yeah.
But I think it's all about those three. But I think the real calling card for Germany is Philipp Grubauer. They have a proven NHL goaltender with veteran experience who's going to go out there and he's going to play fantastic every game. 37 saves on 38 shots against Denmark. He was phenomenal.
When you have almost no defense in front of you, you're going to have to put up those kind of numbers.
Exactly, and that's the concern with Germany is that they don't really have much NHL defense, but if that front line can produce the way they did against Denmark, and if Philipp Grubauer is going to go out there and have the best games of his career, Germany's got a shot at a medal.
Yeah.
They might be like a favorite for a medal right now. It's Canada, U.S., maybe Sweden, and then Germany.
I agree, because that third spot, you have U.S. and Canada. After that, there's a lot of question mark when it comes to who that third best team
Slovakia
is
in the mix.
The thing with Germany that gives me hope for them is the fact that we talked about this last week, that they're staying on schedule. They get the first win. They get Latvia tomorrow. Then they're going to get to play the U.S. in the final group game. And assuming that the Germans beat Latvia, which they should,
and the U.S. win,
that's going to set up the two undefeated teams in that group to play for the bye in group play. If Germany can knock off the Americans and win the group and get a bye in the knockout stage, that's huge for them. And that's, like you said, setting them up for a medal.
Yes, exactly. You just need to win that game on Sunday at 3:00. And it's big for Germany to get that bye, because then you don't have to play a team like one of the better teams.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, your first game is going to be, Czechia instead of whoever, Canada.
Yeah, Sweden or Finland or one of the two again. But it's huge for Germany to go out there and get that win on Sunday.
The last game on Thursday we have not talked about yet. Speaking of Latvia, is the U.S.'s 5-1 win against Latvia. Could have been 7-1. We know that.
Brock Nelson could have scored 2 more goals, to be
What
honest.
did we like? What did we not like about this American team?
I liked the way they forechecked. The forechecking was huge in the offensive zone. The defense game, big part of this one. The defense and goaltending. Shout out to Connor Hellebuck. He played out of his mind. I get it. They're playing a weaker team in Latvia. He only had to stop 17 shots, 18 shots. But I'm very impressed with this U.S. offense so far, coming out buzzing out of the gate.
Yeah, I thought they did everything well. And as Seuss kind of alluded to, I really think it's all about the defensive core. We talked about this last week. That if the U.S. is going to win a gold medal here in Milan, it's going to be because of their defensemen. I think that it is a really strong, well-rounded defense core. You have a couple of offensive-minded defensemen in Quinn Hughes and Zach Werenski. Jacob Slavin, maybe the best defensive defenseman in the entire National Hockey League. Huge part of Team USA. I thought Noah Hannafin also had a pretty good game, and he's technically one of the reserve defensemen. I really think that it's all about this defense core for the U.S. I already mentioned Jake Sanderson, Brock Faber, another young rising star. I also liked what I saw from this forward core. I mean, I thought the biggest thing from them was how well they passed the puck. I mean, if you look specifically at that one goal, the first goal that Brock Nelson scored, that was some of the best passing I've seen in any hockey game ever. If you watch that whole play back, just some of the beautiful passing that the United States had. I mean, Jack Hughes had several beautiful dishes. So did Matthew Tkachuk. So did Jack Eichel. It's not as high ceiling of a forward core as Team Canada, but I think they all play extremely well together. They complement each other well. I cannot believe Tage Thompson was left off the Four Nations face-off forward core. He was phenomenal yesterday, had a power play goal really well. I mean, he's just a big body. He's going to be a huge part of this team. And as Seuss mentioned, I thought Connor Hellebuck did play pretty well.
You keep going, but something about Hellebuck.
We'll see what happens when the competition heats up, because we know that Hellebuck isn't exactly the best in high leverage situations, but the thing that makes me confident is that if Hellebuck struggles, you could turn to a Jeremy Swayman or a Jake Ottinger. You have 3 proven NHL goaltenders. Yeah. I think the U.S. may have the best balance of any team in the entire Olympics.
Yeah, and that's part of the strength is that there's not a whole lot of teams with good defensemen. That's probably the most common hole on any team is the defense, and the U.S. has some pretty solid pieces there. Connor Hellebuck played a great game, but he only took 18 shots.
Yeah,
is why I'm not sold on him. Obviously, 17 out of 18 is a very high percentage, but an 18-shot game against Latvia is nowhere near. Who were we just talking about? Grubauer. Yeah, took 36 shots or somewhere in that range in that game.
Yeah, 38.
Yeah, 38 shots on him. Hellebuck played a good game, but I'm going to be concerned for him when the U.S. goes up against teams that have those high-power offenses that are going to be lighting him up, 12 more times than he's used to.
When they play Denmark tomorrow, Denmark had, like you said, 38 shots against Grubauer. That's going to be a test to see if Hellebuck can stand against a high-power shooting team. It's not Canada.
Is this U.S. defense just that good?
Yes,
and
exactly.
He's never going to actually have to face that many shots.
I think the U.S. defense is that good. I don't think Germany's getting any more than 25 shots on goal tomorrow. I really do think they're just going to completely shut down this Germany offense. Germany's just not that physical.
Germany's on Sunday.
Germany Sunday.
Germany
Denmark's
Sunday.
tomorrow.
Right.
Saturday is Denmark.
Yeah. I don't think Denmark has nearly. Same thing applies to them. They're not as physical. They don't have great defensemen. I think the U.S. is going to spend a lot of time in the offensive zone, and I just don't think. I mean, Germany 25. I don't think Denmark gets 20 shots on goal.
Okay.
I think it's going to be similar to Latvia. Maybe they score twice, maybe, but I don't think Denmark has really much more, if any more, shots on goal than Latvia did against Team USA.
Another game from today that concerned me was Finland over Sweden 4-1. This Sweden team, I still believe in. I think they might have one of the best rosters on paper and a team that I think should get a medal. What's been going wrong with the Swedish team? Because, we saw them play Italy closer than they should have. They were down at the start of the game to Italy, and then they lose by 3 goals to Finland. What's wrong with Sweden right now?
I feel like they're just looking flat out. They're just flat out there. They can't put the puck in the net, number one. The defense has not looked that good, number two. And the goaltending, which I thought was going to be great between Gustafsson and Markstrom, has not been awesome. Gustafsson has struggled in that first game against Italy. 2 goals, I get it. The home crowd was not with you, and Italy has all the advantage. But you can't allow 2 goals to a team with what? Do they even have an NHL player?
Italy?
No, right?
I don't think so.
No, they have one prospect in the Anaheim Ducks system, but that's it.
That's their goalie.
And
it's their goalie.
The thing that's the biggest issue for Sweden right now is that you are 1-1, you're not playing your best hockey, and you still haven't played Slovakia, who is the hottest team in your group right now. They're going to go up against the best team. I believe that's tomorrow's game. Yes,
At 6 a.m.
At 6 a.m. And
Rise and shine.
that could make or break their tournament, because if they win, they're back in this group play, and they have a serious shot to win it and get that first round bye. If not, you go 1-2 in group play against Slovakia and Italy, and the Finnish are obviously a great team, and Slovakia is surpassing expectations. But the state of this Swedish team is not where they should be. And like we've talked about, it's all about momentum. Especially if your last game was a loss, that has massive implications for the rest of the tournament.
We were going into this tournament talking about Sweden being a team that was going to go out there and compete with U.S. and Canada for a gold medal. And they have just not even been close to looking what U.S. and Canada have looked like.
I think Sweden's going to have to change goaltenders. I mean, Philip Gustafsson isn't getting it done. I think you've got to turn to Wallstedt at some point.
And that's part of their strength, is that they have those options.
Yeah, exactly. They're just not. Sweden's just also not getting much from their forward core. I mean, most of their scoring is coming from their defensemen. I mean, Rasmus Dahlin's actually been fantastic. So is Forsling, so is Hedman. But this forward core, where's Lucas Raymond been? Where's Jesper Bratt been? Where have some of these other top forwards been?
Right.
If they don't show up soon, Sweden's going to go home extremely early. I mean, if Sweden gets blown out by Finland, who got blown out by Slovakia, I'm not really sure what we're going to see from this Sweden team. They might, I mean, if they play like this, they could go out in the quarterfinals, the semifinals. I don't really know right now if I have any confidence in Sweden taking home a medal. I think, especially if they stick with Gustafsson and net, that I have no confidence that they will be taking home a medal. I am very concerned right now with what I've seen from Team Sweden.
Absolutely. Only 9 games left in group play. Which game or multiple games are you most looking forward to in terms of how close it's going to be and how important it's going to be for the rest of the tournament?
I will go to Group A. I'm going to go with Czechia versus Switzerland. I think that's going to be for the second place in Group A. And I think the teams are pretty evenly matched. I mean, the Czechs have those 2 big-time forwards. Switzerland has a big-time defenseman. Dan Vladar, pretty good goalie. Akira Schmidt has shown in the past that he can be a good goalie. I feel like I always confuse the Czechs and the Swiss as NHL players, so I have a feeling that might be a bit of a rivalry over in Europe. So I'm excited to see how that one pans out. It's going to be interesting to see if there's more Czech or more Swiss fans there. They're pretty close geographically. I am excited, though, for that. I think both those teams have a chance to be a dark horse for a medal.
Sure.
And whichever one of them wins, they're setting themselves up for a chance to win a medal. So I'm excited to see Czechia, Switzerland, mainly because I have no idea who will win that game.
The one that could not be a fun game, but I really hope it is this afternoon's game between the Swiss and the Canadians. If the Swiss can come out and put up a good fight against Canada and set the tone for the rest of this tournament and make their presence known in this group, I wouldn't be surprised. Canada's obviously a very good team, but I don't trust their goaltending yet after one good game. And like we said, anything can happen. It's Olympic hockey. So that's one. And then U.S.-Germany is going to be big, especially if they're both undefeated at that point.
Yeah, that game is going to be huge. The game I'm looking forward to is one we talked a lot about, Slovakia versus Sweden tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Are
you getting up for that?
I'm thinking about it. I'm looking at, but it's a Saturday morning.
No, I'm getting up for Latvia versus Germany at 6:10. That's what I'm
That's
really
the real
getting.
one.
That's
You know
what
I
I'm
was
really
looking
getting
at?
up
Totally
for.
off topic, but I was looking at World Baseball Classic schedules. Japan-Korea starts at like 5:10 a.m. on some I think it's a Saturday maybe, but still it's a 5 a.m. start. I'm gonna get up for it, but I'm excited.
A Saturday is better than waking at 6:10 is better than waking up at like a Tuesday.
And then going to a 9:30 class.
Then going through a night there is some knockout round games that start at. There's 2 of them that start at 6:10 on Tuesday. So
It's rough.
that is terrible.
I forgot to mention this before, but something crazy I found out is I found a top 50 players in the Olympic hockey tournament from ESPN that was posted before the Olympics. Connor McDavid was not number 1. In fact, he wasn't number 2. He was number 3. They put him behind Cale Makar and Nathan MacKinnon.
Really?
MacKinnon maybe, but you cannot put Connor McDavid behind Cale Makar. Like, that is one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Jack, I have a question. Where's Brock Nelson on that list?
He'll be on here. Let's scroll down. If you guys want to change the subject while I find this.
No, we're gonna guess.
All right.
Top 50. I'll put Brock Nelson, 45.
I was thinking around like 35 to 40 range.
Okay.
So
All right.
I'm gonna say around 42.
All right. Jack, give me a guess.
Is he not? He's not even.
He's
on
on the
there.
top 50. Oh, wait.
Wow.
I'm not surprised.
Jack Hughes is 54, by the
Wow.
way. That's insane. Matthew Tkachuk is 80.
He's on.
Binnington's
Yeah.
145. I think they're just basing it off of. They must just be basing it off of this year.
I'm sure they are. I mean, you wouldn't say that McDavid is the best player right now in terms of season stats compared to a McKinnon.
Actually, I think McDavid has more points now.
Really? At this point?
I believe so.
I haven't looked at NHL standings.
He's got
Really?
3 more points than McKinnon does.
How many games?
3 more games.
Okay.
But still, I mean, and McKinnon was like way ahead too at the beginning of the year. So.
And then you said Makar?
Yeah, Makar was ahead of
Kale.
McDavid.
Listen, at least Sweden's women's hockey team is doing pretty well.
Macklin Celebrini is 4th in points, which is impressive. That's incredible. Good for him.
He is 19 years old.
Yeah.
Just think about
So
that.
older than you are.
Older than me. Jack, he's older than you. Is he older than you, Noah?
It depends on when his birthday is.
8 years old. The last time the NHLers were in the Olympics in 2014.
Macklin Celebrini. His birthday is in June of 06.
Yeah, it looks like he is.
Oh, Campbell's older than him.
7 months older than me.
Campbell's
Wow.
older than him.
Is he really? Really? Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
his birthday's
Oh, yeah.
March.
Yeah.
I like Macklin Celebrini. He's very talented. He's
Wait, no.
incredible.
Campbell's birthday is in March of 06.
Yeah, Macklin is June of 06.
I don't believe that. I'm gonna text him right now. Change the topic. I'm gonna
Change the
text him right
topic.
now.
All right.
I guess any final thought or
Any final
are we getting
thoughts?
final thoughts or
I like what I'm seeing so far I like Bo Horvat. That goal is nasty. And I like former Islander Brock Nelson, what he's doing. He's been incredible.
Do we have any changes in our prediction for who wins gold this year?
I still believe Canada's the best team.
I think I'm switching over to Canada. Depending on, I really want the Swiss to upset them. I'm gonna be watching it during Spanish class. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I think Canada still takes gold.
I'm still behind the US, 100%. Still behind the US because of their defense core.
Yeah, that defense is really good.
I don't think Canada's defense is really that great.
The thing that's most interesting is just the fact that you don't have to win that many games to get a gold medal.
That's the crazy
hockey. Like
thing.
it's literally 3 group games, and then
if you get the bye.
you get the bye. That's 3 wins if you get the bye. So
quarters,
you got if you are undefeated, that's 6-0.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do.
That's all you gotta do.
Yeah, I'm still 100% behind the U.S.
Yep.
I think it will be U.S. versus Canada, though. I said U.S. versus Sweden at first. I'm going to switch it to U.S. versus Canada.
But if you're a team like Canada, and say you lose to Switzerland, you do get a lot of momentum from that. You do build off of it because you find out who your goaltender is. If it's Billington, or you can switch it to Logan Thompson.
Yeah.
That's what I feel
Which
like.
under-the-radar team is most likely to medal this year? Is it Slovakia?
It's Slovakia.
I'd say
Or is
Germany.
it Germany?
I think it's Germany because of Philip Grubauer,
Yeah.
and because of their first line. I think.
But Slovakia's playing better teams at this point. Is also
That's true. But
Slovakia's done well against good competition.
Yeah, Group B is the hardest one, and like I said last week, it's Sweden's group to lose.
Or could it be the Swiss if they beat Canada?
It could be the Swiss.
If Slovakia still has Zdeno Chara, I think I'd choose Slovakia.
Good call.
I miss Zdeno Chara. He should be coaching this team.
I was gonna say I know Montreal.
great.
I know Montreal fans don't miss him.
I do not miss him. All right, are we good?
Think so. I think we got everything
so.
in.
Yeah,
Kind of a lax episode, but there's not a whole. We had like 12 games to talk about for the past week.
Yeah.
But that'll do it for us for this episode of the Dump and Chase podcast presented by the Hoosier Network. I've been Noah Bedoris with Noah Seuss and Jack Rizzo. We'll see you next week.